Campaign 2018 begins. Minnesota Democrats and Republicans choose their favorites for the governor's race.
Representative Tim Walz and Jeff Johnson are the favorites so far after last night's straw polls. Thousands of people showed up to caucus around the state. Our cameras were at the District 58 caucus at Lakeville North High School for the GOP. We also popped over to the District 64 caucus. This at Highland Middle School in St. Paul for the DFL. Let's give you the latest straw poll results for the DFL. These are pretty small vote totals, right? 72% in. Tim Walz in the lead with 31%. Then Rebecca Otto, Aaron Murphy. Still a large number of people uncommitted. And then Chris Coleman. On the Republican side, Jeff Johnson, a clear winner. Nearly 5,000 votes for him. As you can see, though, a lot of undecided votes. Keith Downey in third. Now, the results of these polls are rarely indicative of which candidates will win the nomination. Of course, other people could still enter the race. Last month, former Governor Tim Pawlenty ruled out the possibility of running for the Senate seat vacated by Al Franken, but he's not ruled out running for governor. Of course, Pawlenty ran for president. He recently announced that he is leaving his job at a Washington lobbying firm. If Pawlenty ran for governor, he'd likely be an instant frontrunner with name recognition, credibility, and the money needed to run a campaign.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill have until tomorrow to prevent a second government shutdown this year. Senate leaders from both parties met yesterday, and we're optimistic that a deal is close. Over at the White House, though, President Donald Trump says if immigration isn't properly dealt with, a shutdown might actually be helpful.
Only guy that finds anything good in a shutdown, so that's not helpful. But our goal here is not to play Mother May I with him.
A government shutdown is never the answer. I don't believe we're in any danger of having another government shutdown.
Negotiations on the budget are also tied closely to negotiations on immigration and DACA, the status of illegal immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. Senators John McCain and Christopher Coons are expected to introduce a bipartisan plan to the Senate next week that would extend DACA protections in exchange for border security funding, but not a wall. The White House on Monday rejected that plan.
Flu season is not showing any signs of slowing, according to the Department of Health. Number of hospitalizations will rank among the highest in recent years. Already 3,467 people have been hospitalized just here in Minnesota. A majority of those folks over the age of 65. Dr. Stephen Robinson is a family practice physician at the Savage Fairview Clinic. He said he's treating flu patients every day.
I'm seeing at least a couple of people a day and have been over the past 3 weeks with influenza, so I don't know if we've yet hit the peak.
He was 104.8 this morning.
Not really moving.
Yeah, not moving, really lethargic.
That's frightening to a parent.
Oh, we were very scared.
Trying times in the Haugen house, right? Of their 4 kids under the age of 5, 3 of them are fighting the flu right now. Flu seasons can last well into March or even April, though the vaccine is only 10 to 17% effective at prevention. Doctors tell us it does lessen the severity of symptoms if you should get the flu. Also important, washing your hands and covering your cough. New study validates what you feel all those mornings and nights stuck in traffic.
The global analytics company INRIX says Minneapolis ranks the 17th worst city in the nation out of nearly 300. Among 1,300 cities around the globe, we are number 85. According to the report, 7% of driving time is spent in congestion and 41 peak hours are spent in traffic jams. And as Jeff Wagner reports, weather events were not calculated into this study.
To see the bright lights of the big city sometimes means staring at brake lights along the way.
So you get really busy around where everybody get off of work and school.
Yeah, definitely in the 36, 35 W Commons area. That's a really, congested point.
Morning and evening rush hour is obviously when traffic is at its worst around Minneapolis. And when compared to other cities around the country, the city ranks 17th in terms of hours drivers spend in congestion, which means when the pace is slow going versus free flowing.
I'll be all the way downtown and I live in St. Paul. It's taking about like an hour and a half to get home. It's to get home from downtown St. Paul. Minneapolis to downtown St. Paul.
And time is money. The INRIX traffic study states Minneapolis drivers spend on average about $1,300 per year when stuck in those bumper-to-bumper stretches.
That's very disappointing and sad. I don't know. I would say
like we should get refunded or something, right?
You know, the amount of time that you're spending in traffic times your rate, I would think that would be higher than $1,300 in a year.
At the very least, getting behind the wheel in Minneapolis is easier on your wallet than in New York City, where congestion costs drivers nearly $3,000 a year.
People are different. One person might think it's hard to drive outside. For me, I think it's okay because, you know, it's not that big of a deal for me.
Jeff Wagner, WCCO 4 News.
We reached out to MnDOT regarding this study. Although a spokesperson would not comment directly on its findings, he said traffic has remained steady or increased a bit over the past few years around Minneapolis. He says part of that is due to construction projects, but they are working on ways to manage it through MnPass lanes as one example.